5 critical things to consider when purchasing a new air conditioning unit. The first thing to consider would be the size of the equipment. Up to 70% of the time, systems were missized when originally installed. Parts of the building could have changed, windows, insulation values, if there were any upgrades done. If the system's missized, it might not be cooling properly. It might be using too much energy to do the same cooling that a smaller unit could do. And in our climate, dehumidification would become a major issue then. Second thing to consider is the energy efficiency rating, which most people would hear the word SEER. Its baseline now is 14 SEER, and we have equipment that can go all the way up to 20 plus SEER. Determining which efficiency is best for your home is very important. You might not need the most efficient system depending on the application. You might want a more efficient system depending on the application. A third thing to think about would be the options that are available with the equipment. Warranties, controls, IAQ products, different types of filtration that can come with the unit that are options for that piece of equipment that all play into making the equipment work the best that it can for the application you need it for. Warranties, typical warranties now are 10 years if installed by a qualified contractor. 5 years if not, and sometimes none, depending on who does it. Controls could be anything from a simple normal programmable thermostat to touchscreen thermostats to zoning controls to controls that operate off of your cellular phone. And then IAQ products like filtration, dehumidifiers, UV lights, those kind of things that can be part of the equipment package. Another thing to consider is technology of equipment. There's many different types of equipment that are available now, ranging from the standard single-speed unit with single-speed fans to variable speed fans, which most people are aware of. Now there's even variable speed compressors that vary the capacity of the equipment. So from 100% down to almost 0%. So if you, let's say for instance, you have a 4-ton unit that runs at 48,000 BTUs, which is 4 tons, that can run down to almost 0 capacity and provide very good dehumidification and control the capacity needed based on the load, because the load in the home is not always the same. If you have full load in the middle of August, you won't have that same capacity need in the middle of December whenever it's nicer outside, but you might have some internal heat gain that you need to cool down. So that's the newest technology available. And then there's some in between that's 2-stage where you can go 100% capacity or 66% capacity, which helps with that. It's not as expensive as the variable speed, but it's still an option that's kind of in the middle. Another thing to consider when purchasing an air conditioner is the types of air conditioners available. You can go from anywhere from a typical old window unit to a spot cooler to a central type system, which most people are familiar with. There's package units available, which is what most people would consider for a mobile home type installation. There's air-to-air heat pumps, which is very common. There's water-to-air heat pumps, which actually use groundwater or water from some source to cool the refrigerant. And then that's one of the most efficient systems available. There's also furnaces that need to be thought of if you have gas heat. New technology in the mini split market, where you can have single condensers and multiple air handlers, which helps with zoning and comfort control throughout the house, where your old typical central system would be 1 air handler, 1 condenser, and you have a duct system that distributes the air, and you have 1 thermostat. Now you can have multiple thermostats and have multiple air handlers, which overall helps with comfort. And the typical mini split has inverter compressors, so there's variable speed on for the demand. Selecting the correct air conditioner for your home is critical to maximizing your home's indoor comfort.